Hello everyone and welcome back to our approach into Toronto Billy Bishop Airport, identifier Charlie Yankee Tango Zulu. The winds have currently changed, so we have been directed to land on runway 08 instead of 06. We're currently at 7,000 feet on the approach for runway 08. We are heading direct to the Ukpag waypoint and maintaining 7 feet until we cross that point. So, this is just a check-in from the flight deck, and we'll be back at waypoint Echo Lima Uniform Kilo India at 2,000 feet. Okay, welcome back. We're currently holding 5,000 feet on our approach into Toronto. As you can see, we're 4.8 nautical miles from our Moosehead waypoint, which is where we start to turn for our final. So, if we bring up our weather request here, the wind is variable at 4 knots, few clouds at 6,200 feet, and the altimeter is 1024. If we look down here, it says our altimeter is 1023, so we have to adjust that one. So there we go, we're now coordinated. So let's go through our approach checklist. Pressurization is set. Flaps, we'll be landing flaps 35 today since it's such a short runway, and we're now starting to turn final, so let's descend down to 2,000 feet. Okay, we'll descend at 1,500 feet per minute down to 2,000. There it is. Okay, so let's continue with our checklist. Altimeter's set, fuel transfer is off. Yeah, fuel transfer is off. Fuel pumps are on. And hydraulics are good. Passenger signs are both on here. Caution panel looks good. And the cabin is secured. Okay. So let's start to slow down. We'll be landing at 101 knots, flaps 35. So let's slow down. Flaps 5. Okay, all warnings sound good. And as you can see, we're 1.5. Okay, we're now crossing the Seacooks waypoint, which is about 5 miles from final. Once we reach that, there's the shores of Ontario that are in sight now, and we are passing 2,500 feet. So let's slow down even more.
Caution. Terrain. Caution. Terrain.
Terrain warnings, that's just because we're descending down. And let's hold 2,000 feet on the approach. So today we're going to be using a system called automatic landing system, which is the instrument landing system. We'll be using two services, one called the glide slope, which puts your plane on the perfect descent, and we'll be using the localizer, which lines your plane up with the center line of the runway. So, as we pass the Seacooks waypoint, we'll be going straight to Borage, where we can then select the ILS landing, which will bring our plane into range of the runway, where I can then take over and land. So if we zoom in on our map, there's the round 2, that's where we have to go. And we should be turning right now any second. Why isn't this turning? We should be turning left. Why isn't it? I think we may have a problem here. Let's turn off our yaw damper. Autopilot on. VNav on. And our altitude is selected. Let's bring you up. There we go. Okay, that fixed it. Alright, let's bring back the throttle. The safety came on there by itself for some reason. I do not know why. Okay, so we're turning towards Borid now, which means that we can now, if we look at our autopilot panel here, we need to select our approach, which we can do once we pass Borid here. So let's head direct to that, heading select. And we can change our source to ILS number 1. ILS number 2. Should be ILS number 1. That's okay. We need to go to 110.700. 110.700. And that should have fixed that. Yep, there we go. And we need to change this to 86 degrees down here at the bottom. So now our automated landing is set up. Let's increase our throttles to make sure that we can hold our airspeed. And let's turn on approach. There's Toronto's Lester B. Pearson Airport there to our left. And there's the CN Tower and downtown Toronto right in front of us. And to the right of that is the airport. You can see the red light there. So as looking closer here, and the localizer, if you can see this triangle down here on the bottom, the triangle will move to the bottom of our screen and put us on path for the runway. Flaps 10. Okay, and gear down. I'm going to take control. Let's slow down to 101 knots. And I am taking control to land. Flaps 35. Let's move back a bit. Let's try and slow down even more. And there's the CN Tower and runway in sight. So our landing checklist is landing gear down, flaps 35. Condition levers have to be set to max. And throttles back to idle.
1,000.
So let's pull back here. Bring our throttles back so we can try and hold 101 knots. Now we have to make sure we're going as slow as possible because where this is such a short runway, we need to be able to stop as soon as we can.
500.
And we have to be coming in as slow as possible too. So as you can see, downtown Toronto to our left. And we're facing a strong wind coming from our left also. So we're a little high, so let's descend down and reduce throttle.
Plus 100.
So, final checklist, landing gear is down and flaps are still 35.
Minimums.
Too low. Flaps.
Minimums, so we're landing.
Too low. Flaps. Too low. Flaps.
And touchdown. Brakes and steer. Full reversers on our engines to slow down as fast as we can. And there we go, we have arrived in Toronto's Billy Bishop Airport. So we're going to take our next left here to taxi 2 parking. Flap set to 0. And we need to change this to taxi. It was sort of a rough landing, but that's always expected coming into Toronto's Billy Bishop, where your speeds need to be perfect and you can never be too high. So let's pull into our parking spot here now on the right. And throttles to idle, parking brake set, and condition levers set to fuel off. And let's go through our shutdown checklist. Parking brake is set, hydraulic pump is set to normal, propellers are off, heat is off, wipers off. Oh, we have warning, that's okay. And pilot side window heat is off, so batteries are left on, external power is on. Let's start our APU. And our bleeds can now be turned to off. Seatbelt sign is off. Exterior lights are off. Landing lights are off. And shutdown checklist complete once we turn off our batteries. There it is. Okay. So we have arrived in Toronto's Billy Bishop Airport on Porter Airlines Flight 420 from Montreal. In front of us here now is downtown Toronto, and thank you for tuning in for our landing. Please tune in next time for our WestJet flights down to Saint Martin in the Netherlands Antilles. So tune in next time for that. Thanks for watching.